Welcome, everyone. Great to see all of you this evening. And I'm thrilled to be here for the 2020 end of the year athletic picnic. I hope that you are all at home, safe and well, and enjoying some good picnic snacks as we go through the program here tonight in honor of our fantastic student athletes at Franklin and Marshall. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Mickey Blymeyer and Brad Weltmer and their team, and the countless people that have made this production possible. We always like to highlight and thank our seniors and give them a good send-off. And this is the day that I look forward to, but also dread every year, because it's my opportunity to place a cord around the neck of each graduating senior and to thank them for all they've done for Franklin and Marshall athletics. I look forward to doing that when we finally gather again to celebrate your commencement. But at this point, I'm thrilled that we have this opportunity to meet virtually and for us to honor you, honor our coaches, and honor all of the hardworking diplomats throughout the country and throughout the world. Next, you will hear from Margaret Hazlett, our Vice President and Dean of Student Affairs. She is my direct report and the person who oversees athletics. She is tireless in her support of our student athletes and in all wellness and recreation activities on the campus. Thank you so much, Dean Hazlett, for all that you've done for us this year. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Athletic Director Epps. It's so good to be in front of all of our student athletes and our coaches and administrative staff of the athletic program, and to be celebrating quite a year that our sports teams had from the fall through the winter and our very abbreviated spring season. But no, many of our spring teams stayed together through these last couple of weeks, and my thanks to you all for that spirit. I especially want to give a shout out to our Student Athlete Leadership Council. SALC's leadership throughout the year was outstanding in both engaging in some difficult conversations that the community was in, but also moving forward and bringing really rich programs to our full student community that we all benefited from. And then in the last weeks, bringing some fun with the virtual 5K that over 100 people participated and posted some fun photos and videos. So my thanks to SALC for your leadership, and through all the student athletes and our coaches and administrative team for an outstanding year that was challenging, but also incredibly rewarding and strengthening for our community. This year marks a particular hard end regarding the departure of two of our senior leaders within the athletic program. I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize and thank our men's basketball coach, Glenn Robinson, and our director of athletics, Patty Epps. Coach Epps is finishing her 41st year at F&M and has served as a tireless and committed athletic director for the previous 12 years, following his distinguished career as the Diplomats tennis and squash coach. Every one of you student athletes have seen Coach Epps at your practice, at your games, cheering from the sidelines, pacing nervously through championship matches, and there to support all of you tirelessly. After serving as the department's senior woman administrator and senior associate director of athletics for 3 years, Coach Epps was appointed as the college's director of athletics and recreation in August of 2007, becoming the first woman in the college's history to hold that position. Coach Epps has left an indelible mark on our athletic program and will be a very hard act to follow for our next athletic director. Her commitment is bar none, both to the athletic department at F&M, to the college, and to the greater Lancaster community, as well as national athletics at the collegiate level. My thanks to Patty for your tireless work, your stewardship, and leadership all these years at F&M through the NCAA and the state of Pennsylvania. My thanks. Coach Robinson retires as the most victorious coach in the NCAA Division III history with 967 victories, which ranks third all-time among all NCAA divisions of college basketball. He led the Diplomats to the NCAA's Division III tournament 25 times with 44 tournament victories, and the Diplomats advanced to the Sweet 16 on 17 occasions and the Elite Eight in 10 postseasons. My thanks to Glenn and your leadership of our men's basketball program throughout all of these years. It's been exciting to watch you on the floor, your guidance of so many of our young men over the years, and their commitment to you, to the institution, and the game of basketball is outstanding. Thank you both, Patty and Glenn. Your hard work, your dedication, and your commitment to Franklin and Marshall has been incredibly special. Now I'd like to introduce President Altman. Barbara Altman is in her second year at Franklin and Marshall as the 16th president. She believes in the power of connection between people and ideas, arts and sciences, soft skills and hard skills, classroom learning, and real-world experiences, and between our campus and the city of Lancaster, our faculty and students, our alumni and recent grads, our rich past, demanding present, and inspired future. A firm believer in our tradition of education, President Altman is committed to deepening and broadening the connections between the Franklin and Marshall community and the world in which we live. President Altman.
Hi, everybody. President Barbara Altman here, and I'm so pleased that I can be with you for the EppSPYs, even if it's just remotely this year. I know you've just heard from AD Patty Epps and you've heard from Dean Hazlett, and it's my turn just to congratulate you on what was a fantastic year, even though it got truncated at the end. I want to do a quick overview of the fall and the winter highlights, and then just send you off into the actual awards part of this ceremony with just my glowing thanks for all you do and for who you are. But first, let's mention a couple of the details. So in the fall, volleyball, men's soccer, and field hockey all made it to the conference championship game. That's pretty remarkable. Two teams, men's soccer and field hockey, made the NCAA tournament appearance. Field hockey set a new wins record, and men's soccer tied their record, which is also quite an amazing achievement. And then, of course, Dan Wagner was named Conference Coach of the Year. Caitlin Eager was named Regional Coach of the Year. Field hockey made it to the national championship game, and I was there. It was a lot of fun. You finished as national runners-up, which is really a hallmark win for us. Football, you won your third straight MAC FCC Bowl. 7 fall student athletes were named All-Americans. Fall teams won 75% of their overall contests, and 6 of you were named Academic All-Centennial. That's a really stellar season from my point of view. The winter kept that record going. 22 student athletes named to their respective all-conference teams, 4 named Academic All-Centennial. 3 teams reached national top 20 ranking. 14 individuals qualified for their respective national championship competitions, and men's swimming recorded their first undefeated regular season since 1964 to 66. That's when your parents were born. They broke 17 out of 19 school records. They won the first CC championship since 2010, and a program record 6 All-Americans included on the team. That's pretty phenomenal. I'm so deeply proud of you. Spring got off to a great start. Unfortunately, of course, that's when our disruption hit. There was so much promise, and those of you who got started off to a terrific set of wins. I'm so sorry that the pandemic swept in and put it into that spring season. You know, I advocated hard with the conference to keep athletics going as long as we could, but even we had to bow to the inevitable. So I want to recognize that disruption as one of the major features of your year on the field, in the pool, on the court. It's really tough when your season gets interrupted like this. And I can only imagine the disappointment and even the heartbreak of the end of some of those seasons for you. So let me just let me just finish by saying it's been a tough year, especially for our seniors, but for everybody who couldn't see out their season as expected, especially when you were on such a roll. So I want to reflect for just a minute about how our student athletes actually have all the attributes of what is getting us through this hard time and the pandemic. Think about what you do as student athletes, as scholar athletes, as I know Director Epps likes to call you, and that's very apt. You always, in every practice, in every competition, in your workouts, in your ethos, you display resilience, toughness, discipline, teamwork, and leadership. And those are actually the qualities that we need now more than anything. So I thank you for displaying those over and over again. You are such great representatives for Franklin and Marshall. You are such good diplomats, capital D, small d for us. And because you are more visible than many other students, you are the students and the successes by which the world knows Franklin and Marshall. Don't forget that, please, even if your own season was truncated. You've done a great job and you've represented us so very, very well. I can't wait to cheer for you in the stands and on the sidelines once we're back to something resembling normal. But right now, this celebration is all the more important because we want to recognize you whether we can do it in person or not. So I'm going to hand it off and let's get to this year's awards.
Welcome to the 6th annual EppSPY's award ceremony. My name is Ali Narachi and I'm a sophomore on the women's basketball team and co-president of the Student Athlete Leadership Council.
And I'm Kenna Williams, a sophomore on the basketball team and the other co-president of SALC. Given the challenging circumstances we are currently facing, we are extremely proud and excited to be your host for today and to be able to continue this wonderful tradition. Thank you all for tuning in today, and thank you even more for committing yourselves to Diplomat athletics. With that, I'd like to introduce our MC for this evening, who will be presenting the 2020 EppSPY Award. John Whitwer is the public address announcer for the Lancaster Barnstormers and has been the voice of F&M athletics for more than 10 years. Please welcome John Whitwer.
Thank you, Ali and Kenna. Let's get started with our first award program category of the evening, which is Best Photo. Photographs often capture the excitement and intensity that athletes experience throughout games. These photos are a small sample of the many memorable moments over the past year. Nominations for Best Photo are field hockey, the team's post-game celebration with the F&M student section after defeating Johns Hopkins on November 23rd to advance to the 2019 NCAA National Championship game. Volleyball, sophomore Allison Frankie blocks a ball off of her head in the Diplomats' 3-1 win against McDaniel on October 10th, and her teammates react in disbelief. Men's squash, King Bassett in the middle of the huddle, getting the team ready for their match against Wesleyan on January 15th. Baseball, starting pitcher Jonathan Cole fired up after throwing a complete game 1-0 shutout win against number 9 Swarthmore in 2019. Women's soccer, passionate support from the bench, emphasizing the team's core value of teamwork. Men's swimming, the team cheering each other on in a 133-128 victory over Swarthmore on November 1st, which came down to a winner-take-all situation in the final event to help preserve the program's first undefeated season in 55 years. And women's cross country, the team huddled before the start of the Little 3 meet on September 13th in Lancaster, in which F&M defeated Gettysburg for the first time since 2005. The winner for Best Photo is field hockey's Final Four celebration. Next up is the comeback female and male athlete. Fighting through injuries is something all athletes must endure, and the most satisfying feeling after suffering an injury is coming back and inspiring your teammates to accomplish a goal. Our second award today recognizes the players that experienced a setback in their collegiate career and persevered this past year. Our nominees for Best Comeback Female Athlete are Lexi Salerno, women's cross country. Lexi overcame serious injuries in both cross country and indoor track, limiting her freshman year, She improved from 170th to 97th at the Mideast Championships and was among Centennial Conference leaders in the 800 and the mile. Sam Hershey, women's rowing. Despite severe back pains early in the season, Sam Hershey was able to fight through and work hard to join the Varsity 8 boat in the spring. Maggie Hanshy, women's lacrosse. Maggie suffered a season-ending injury toward the end of the 2019 season. However, in just 4 games this season, she recorded 15 ground balls and caused 10 turnovers. She graduates 16th in career ground balls with 130 and 5th in turnovers caused with 83 in Diplomat history. The nominations for Best Male Comeback Athlete of the Year are as follows. Seifu Zarabrook, men's soccer. After tearing his ACL his freshman year, Seifu rehabbed his way back and appeared in 16 games this past year, collecting his first collegiate goal as well. His work ethic to return to the field was an inspiration to all of his teammates. Dan Baroff, baseball. Dan broke a bone in his hand during the first game of last season, but came back strong this year. He had a .458 batting average, which was good for a top 10 showing in the Centennial, and threw out 80% of attempted base stealers as a catcher, crushing the all-time team record. Harris Carlin, men's rowing. Harris had been suffering from lower back pain that sidelined him for much of the past few seasons. However, he worked tirelessly in the summer, fall, and winter to strengthen his lower back. Had the season not been cut short, he would have started on the men's Varsity 8 boat. Shams Abbas, men's squash. As a senior, Shams suffered a back injury that had him devastated at the thought of not being able to compete this year. However, he worked hard in the training room to return to the courts, competing at the team's number 3 spot on the ladder and representing the school at individual nationals in March. Jake Wetzel, men's lacrosse. Jake suffered a torn ACL at the end of the 2018 season, but his work ethic and dedication moved him back to being one of the team's top defenders. Jake put in countless hours rehabbing his knee and worked his way back into a vital role with the men's lacrosse team. The winner for Best Female Comeback Athlete is Maggie Hanshy, women's lacrosse. And the winner for Best Male Comeback Athlete, Dan Baroff, baseball. Congratulations to these 2 athletes for their determination and hard work this past season. And now moving on to our next category, breakthrough athlete. Becoming a vital part of your team is very rewarding individually. These athletes help their teams achieve greater athletic accomplishments through their improved performance from the previous year. The nominees for Biggest Female Breakthrough Athlete are June Sanchez, women's cross country. June improved over 100 places on the 6K course at the Mideast Regionals in November, helping the team improve from 29th to 18th overall in the region's team standings. She went on to have an impressive indoor track campaign, ranking among Centennial leaders in the 800 meters, where she improved her previous year's time. Marissa McGarry, women's lacrosse. After missing the first 3 games of her freshman year, Marissa played well in the first 4 games of the 2020 season, ranking first in the team in points with 16, second in goals with 10, second in assists with 6, and first in draw controls with 16. Kenna Williams, women's basketball. Kenna led the conference in rebounding with a 12.4 rebounds per game average, 8th in scoring at 12.6 points per game, and second in blocks with 1.8 per game. Kenna was one of only 2 players in the Centennial to average a double-double, ranking 10th nationally in rebounding per game and 3rd in offensive rebounds per game. Sarah Labovitz, women's rowing. Sarah struggled with the pain that naturally comes with a long rowing season. In her senior year, she pushed herself in workouts and saw steady improvement, which helped her mentally throughout the season. Hannah Salvucci, softball. Hannah appeared in 9 games her freshman year in 2018, and her season was cut short in 2019 due to a concussion. This year, Hannah started all 4 of the team's games and was poised to start many more, leading the Diplomats with a .375 batting average, along with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs. Grace Smith, women's squash. Grace finished the 2018-19 season with a 5-11 record. This past year, she finished with a 14-8 mark at the number 7 or 8 spot in the rotation. Those 14 victories placed her 26th on the F&M Squash single-season wins list. Christina Siri, field hockey. Christina sat behind the best goalie in program history her first 2 years without much playing time. Although somewhat inexperienced her junior year, Siri was named first-team All-Region and first-team All-Conference, dominating the hardest position on the field. She led the conference in save percentage, shutouts, and goals against average. Her strong play helped the team to their most wins in program history, while her 0.80 goals against average was 12th in the country. Carly Bazzo, volleyball. Carly earned the starting libero position and was the volleyball team's defensive anchor all season. She finished 4th in the Centennial for digs per set and 5th overall in total digs. Her digs per set increased from 1.78 her freshman year to 4.44 her sophomore year, as well as her total digs from 187 to 395. And now for the nominations for Male Breakthrough Athlete of the Year. Brian Hines, men's basketball. Brian appeared in limited games his freshman year, averaging under 2 points per game. However, as a sophomore, he started 19 games, leading the team in rebounding and was 3rd in points per game. Brian shot a conference-high 60% from the field, and his defensive play sparked several key wins. Carl Friedrich, men's soccer. Carl went from seeing limited game action his freshman year to becoming the anchor of a Diplomat defense that allowed a mere 0.65 goals per game average in 2019. Alan Tompkins, men's squash. In the 2018-19 season, Alan had a limited role on the team, resulting in a 6-4 record. This past year, however, he was a major part of the team's success by producing a 12-2 overall record. Will DeMuth, men's lacrosse. After a limited role on last season's team, Will worked tirelessly in 2020 to earn himself a starting role in the midfield during a shortened season. His impact on the team was significant throughout the Diplomats games this year. The winner for Female Breakthrough Athlete, Christina Siri, field hockey. And the winner for Male Breakthrough Athlete, Brian Hines, men's basketball. Congratulations to these two athletes who brought their game to the next level this past year. Next is the award for biggest inspiration. Every team has its ups and downs. These athletes have the ability to lift the spirits of their teammates, proving to be inspirations on and off the field. Here are the nominations for F&M's biggest female inspirations. Sarah Mirza, volleyball. Sarah inspired her teammates on a daily basis and was a true team-first player throughout her Diplomat volleyball career. Despite limited playing time, she was a leader on the bench and during timeouts. Melissa Gula, field hockey. Melissa's senior year was not only special on the field, garnering Conference Defender of the Year, South Region Player of the Year, and first-team All-American status, but she served as the field hockey team's emotional leader. The past 2 years, Gula has been nominated by her teammates for the Diplomat Contribution Award, going to the player who contributes most on and off the field. Women's basketball team, winning 7 out of the season's last 9 games to remain in the Centennial playoff hunt, the women's basketball team began to gel and show potential. Playing the last 3 games without their starting point guard, the Diplomats came up just short of the playoffs, but will look forward to building off this impressive finish next year. Katie Benham, women's rowing. A senior leader in the boat, Katie is also a great friend and teammate off the boat. She is sought out by her teammates not only for rowing advice, but also for life advice. Her ability to manage this leadership role was an incredible feat. Emily Knapp, women's squash. Emily was a sophomore captain this past year. After the other captain, Julia Bevan, suffered a season-ending injury, Emily stepped up and filled the extra spot as the lone team leader, leading the Diplomats to one of the best years in the history of F&M's women's squash program. And now the nominees for biggest male inspiration. Ryan Core, men's soccer. After suffering a career-ending leg injury early in the season, Ryan was influential to the Diplomats in his delight to attend practices and film. His injury did not keep Ryan from being a leader for the team, as his voice on the bench inspired everyone. Christian Jones, men's rowing. Christian is known as a quiet and reserved student athlete who has had shoulder injuries that prohibit him from often using the rowing machines. However, Christian always finds a way to put in extra work, paying off when he performed his 2,000-meter race with the team and pulling a personal record by 4 seconds. Giannis Senko, men's squash. Giannis was a fantastic senior captain for the squash team this year, led the program to a record-breaking season with a 20-6 mark. Off the court, he challenged his teammates to be the best student athletes they could be. Kyle McCormick, men's lacrosse. Kyle is always the first one to the field and the last one off of it. His work ethic is contagious, inspiring his teammates to put in the extra time. The winner for the biggest female inspiration is Melissa Gula, field hockey. And the winner for the biggest male inspiration, Ryan Core, men's soccer. Congratulations to these two truly inspiring athletes. The next category is Female and Male Rookie of the Year. We all know that the transition from high school to college sports can be extremely daunting for a first-year student. Our next award recognizes the first-year players that excelled despite all the changes that college brings. The nominees for Female Rookie of the Year are Darby Klopp, field hockey. Darby had a standout season during her first year on campus. She started all 24 games in 2019, finishing third on the team in goals scored and tied for second in assists. She came up big in the postseason where she dished out 4 assists in 4 games. Darby was named the CC Rookie of the Year and received honorable mention all-conference recognition. Riley Hourahan, women's soccer. Riley started all 17 of the team's games as a defender, receiving all Centennial Conference honorable mention recognition for a backline that recorded 8 shutouts and held opponents to a 0.98 goals against average. Caroline Kruger, women's rowing. Caroline joined rowing as a novice in the fall of 2019. Over the course of the fall and winter training, Caroline had developed into a very capable novice rower, so much so that her 2,000-meter pace on the rowing machine put her in 7th overall on the team. Mary Pat McKenna, women's lacrosse. Mary Pat started all 4 games of her freshman year, recording 4 ground balls, 3 draw controls, and 6 caused turnovers. Julie McFadden, women's swimming. Julie was the second highest point scorer on the women's team at the conference championships and broke school records in the 50 freestyle, 200 freestyle relay, and 400 freestyle relay. Jill Holoboski, softball. Jill, a first-year utility player for the Diplomats, is off to a 4-0 start in their shortened 2020 season. She was terrific in the circle, earning a win and a save in the doubleheader sweep at Mary Baldwin on March 8th. Batting near the top of the order, she hit .286, scored 5 runs, and drove in 4. Zoe Quayle, squash. In her first year with the Diplomats, Zoe competed at the number 7 spot on the ladder and finished the 2019-20 season with a fantastic record of 16-7. And now the nominees for Male Rookie of the Year. Cavante Beard, football. Cavante became the first Diplomat to be named CC Rookie of the Year in the 8-year history of the award. The first-year linebacker finished the regular season with 44 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, 1 pass breakup, and a blocked punt return for a touchdown. Shea Adamson, men's soccer. Shea appeared in all 21 games for the team, starting 18 of them and adding 10 points to the offense. He pulled a lot of strings offensively and tacked on 2 game-winning goals as well. Tommy Denlinger, baseball. Tommy hit .500 in 2020, which was good for the 4th best batting average in the conference, while managing to record a 4-to-1 walk-to-strikeout ratio. Playing primarily at third base, he successfully fielded all 14 of his chances in the field, which allowed him to have the highest fielding percentage of any infielder in the Centennial. Willem Stoll, men's swimming. Willem was the conference champion in the 1650 freestyle and broke Franklin and Marshall records in the 500 free, 1000 free, and 1650 free as a first year. Teddy Eel, men's squash. As a first year, Teddy competed at the 6 through 8 spots on the ladder and finished the season with an impressive 23-1 record. His 23 victories were good for the 10th most on the program's single season list as he wrapped up the year with 21 straight wins. George LaBouffe, men's lacrosse. George made a serious impact on the team right away, working his way into the starting lineup at the midfield. He was off to a fast start with 8 points through just 4 games on the 2020 season. He also put together an impressive 4-point performance with 3 goals and 1 assist against nationally ranked W&L on February 29th. The winner for Female Rookie of the Year is Darby Klopp, field hockey. And the winner for Male Rookie of the Year, Cavante Beard, football. Congratulations to both of these fine athletes. Next up is the best female and male record-breaking performance. Going to a school with namesakes like Ben Franklin and John Marshall means that any program record that is broken is a big deal, since it has likely been around for a long time. Franklin and Marshall is the 17th oldest institution in the nation, has been competing in collegiate athletics for more than 128 years. So anytime a Diplomat athlete sets a new standard of excellence, it is sure to be memorable. The nominees for the best female record-breaking performance: Grace Polisano, volleyball. During the final match of her career in the conference finals against Johns Hopkins, Grace needed 11 points in order to reach the 1,000-point mark. While she was more concerned with how the team performed, Grace came up big with 11.5 points that cemented her position in Diplomat volleyball history as one of the program's most successful outside hitters. Erin Coverdale, field hockey. 3-time All-American Erin Coverdale made her latest mark on the program this season. On November 13th, she broke the program's career goals record, a mark that stood since 1978. This came after she broke the game-winning goals record earlier in the season. She leaves F&M as the all-time points, goals, and game-winning goals leader. Nicolette Runco, women's soccer. Nicolette tallied a team-leading 12 goals in 2019, good for the most scores by a Diplomat since 2003. Kristen Hamill, women's basketball. Kristen finished the season as number 11 on the program's career scoring list with 1,265 points. She also placed 7th in career rebounds and became one of only 5 Diplomats to score 1,200 points and grab 700 rebounds. The 4x800 relay team of June Sanchez, Lexi Salerno, Laura Greenlee, Sydney Desnudis, women's track and field. At the Centennial Conference Indoor Championships, the women's 4x800 relay team shattered the school record by 22 seconds when they captured gold with a time of 9 minutes and 29 seconds. The group also broke a 7-year-old Centennial record, as well as a championship meet record, en route to winning this event for the first time in school history. Liz Brody, women's rowing. Liz studied abroad in the fall, but came back to campus focused and ready to go for winter training. She approached the rowing machine and training maturely, setting a goal of getting on the team's record board for a 2,000-meter piece. And she did. Liz now sits in 4th all-time for 2K personal records at F&M. Emily Kitchen, women's lacrosse. During her first-year season in 2019, Emily earned All-American accolades as a goalkeeper while recording 121 saves, a 55.8 save percentage, and averaging 7.65 goals against. With only playing in 19 games in her career so far, Kitchen ranks among the program leaders and is 13th in saves, 9th in save percentage, and 5th in goals against average. The nominees for male record-breaking performance are as follows. Keyshawn Farmer, football. As a sophomore, Keyshawn broke the Franklin and Marshall single-season rushing touchdown record with 13 this season. Ignis Slika, men's basketball. Ignis broke the single-game steals record with 10 steals at home against Johns Hopkins on February 19th. Ignis finished the season as the Centennial Conference leader in steals and is in the top 5 for career steals in F&M men's basketball history. Connor Whitaker, men's soccer. Connor, the Division III Defender of the Year, broke the Franklin and Marshall record for the most career appearances with 84 games played. Never missing a single game across his 4 years proved beneficial to Whitaker, who was a 2-year captain and a 3-year starter. Jonathan Cole, baseball. Jay broke the school's single-game record in 2019 with a 14-strikeout pitching performance against Haverford College. He also shattered the school record for earned run average in a season with a 1.02 mark, which was good for the second-best earned run average in the nation. Will Gill, wrestling. Will put together one of the strongest regular season campaigns in F&M wrestling history. He earned a 29-7 record and became the first grappler to qualify for an NCAA allocated spot in the EIWA conference since Rick Durso in 2016. He was ranked in the top 30 in the rankings percentage index and was in the top 30 in Division I in winning percentage. Men's swimming. The Diplomats won the Centennial Conference Championship for the first time in 10 years and posted the first undefeated season for men's swimming since the 1964-65 season. The team never trailed an opponent at any point in the regular season. F&M went on to qualify the most team members for the NCAA championship in school history. Kevin Mollahan, men's lacrosse. Kevin set the Centennial Conference record for goals in a career at 207. Kevin broke the record against Messiah College on March 7th and did it with a 5-goal performance that day. The winner for Best Female Record-Breaking Performance, Erin Coverdale, field hockey. And the winner for Best Male Record Performance is the F&M men's swimming team. Congratulations. Next up, we have the best female and male collaboration. Sometimes one teammate just isn't the same without the other or others. Often the dynamic units on our sports teams rely on each other to achieve a level of success that would have been unattainable had their teammates not been there to help them along. Nominees for best female collaborations are Grace Maggiore and Allison Frankie, volleyball. In their second year playing together, the duo of Grace and Allison continued to be lethal. They combined for 486.5 points, with Grace delivering the assists for most of Allison's 253 kills. They were both named First Team All-Conference, First Team All-Mid-Atlantic Region, and Honorable Mention All-Americans during the 2019 season. Lily Minot and Erin Coverdale, field hockey. Typically known for their defense, the F&M field hockey team's offense shined through this year as the Diplomats averaged 2.9 goals per game. Coverdale was the Centennial Conference Offensive Player of the Year in 2017 and 2018, while Minot earned that honor this season. As an All-American duo, Minot led the team in goals with 30, and Coverdale led in assists with 8. Kristen Hamill and Kenna Williams, women's basketball. These two were a dynamic duo inside for the Diplomats, proving incredibly difficult for the other team to stop. Opponents altered game plans to defend the two of them, often sagging in the post, as these two were just a force inside. The duo combined for 49% of the team's rebounds, 47% of the Diplomats' scoring. Pitching staff, softball. One of the biggest question marks leading into the 2020 season was how several first-year pitchers would complement junior Sabrina Ryan in the circle. The staff of Sabrina Ryan, Peyton Schwartz, and Jill Holoboski combined to lead the Diplomats to a 4-0 start, the best for F&M softball since 2016. And now the nominees for Best Male Collaboration. The defensive unit, men's soccer. In 21 games, many of which occurred against nationally ranked opponents, the defense had a goals against average of 0.65 and totaled 9 shutouts throughout the year, including in 3 out of 4 playoff games. The 2019 pitching staff, baseball. The 2019 group of hurlers broke the school record for strikeouts in a season with 320, topping the previous mark by 25 strikeouts. The staff led the conference in earned run average, both in centennial play and overall season totals. The staff gave up the fewest amount of hits and runs while striking out the most batters of any centennial team during conference play. The 400 freestyle relay team of Chris Schiavone, Brandon Klein, Alec Wall, and Tom Grominski, men's swimming. The Diplomats broke the 3-minute barrier to win the 400 free relay, solidifying the 2020 Centennial Conference Championship in the final event of the meet and setting the 7th fastest time in Division III. Kevin Mollahan and Luke Keating, men's lacrosse. Widely recognized amongst the best attacking duos in the nation, Kevin and Luke were a dominant force in 2020, combining for 9 goals in a 13-8 victory against Messiah on March 7th. The winner for the best female collaboration, Lily Minot and Erin Coverdale, field hockey. And the winner for best male collaboration, the 400 freestyle relay team, men's swimming. Congratulations to you all. Up next, the nominees for Game or Match of the Year. No matter how long your contests might be, it is rare for a team to actually string together a great performance throughout the entirety of a competition. However, when teams manage to pull off this rare feat, those contests join Diplomat lore and are remembered for years to come. Here are the nominees for Game of the Year. Women's soccer. The Diplomats scored a game-winning overtime goal on October 16th to beat Gettysburg College by a 1-0 score in Lancaster. The Bullets entered the matchup as one of the nation's top teams, having received votes in the latest D3Soccer.com Top 25 poll. Men's soccer. 2 top 15 teams faced off at Tyler's Field on September 18th, and after a hard-fought battle that was tied at 0-0 at the end of regulation, Carl Friedrich scored the game-winning goal in double overtime to give the Diplomats a 1-0 win over Stevens. Baseball. In a doubleheader on April 13th, 2019, against number 9 Swarthmore, the Diplomats faced a lineup that finished as the best offense in the country. Against the Garnet's ace, F&M Bats came to life in the third inning of Game 1 by putting up 5 runs en route to a 9-5 win. Game 2 saw a pitcher's duel between 2 of the best juniors in the conference. After giving up a leadoff double, Jonathan Cole settled in and pitched a complete game gem by giving up just 3 hits. In the top of the ninth and still tied at 0, Kevin Lammers tripled home Danny Bluchis to give F&M the lead. Cole put down Swarthmore in order to pick up the sweep. Women's basketball. The Diplomats were tied with Muhlenberg for the 6th spot in the conference. Both teams needed to win on February 15th to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Diplomats' starting point guard suffered a concussion hours before the game, which forced F&M into a last-second lineup change. Denisha Bellamy Green stepped up with 26 hard-fought minutes as the Diplomats pulled off a 62-61 nail-biter at home and kept their playoff hopes alive for another week. Men's tennis. Franklin and Marshall men's tennis team upset number 40, the College of New Jersey, by a 6-3 score on the road on March 7th. Wrestling. Trailing by 1 point going into the heavyweight matchup, Vincenzo Pelusi scored a clutch takedown in the final period to secure the 21-19 win over Brown University on January 19th. The victory snapped a 24-match series winless streak and marked the first time F&M Wrestling had defeated Brown since 1965. Women's lacrosse. In a 2-overtime game that lasted 2 hours and 28 minutes, Megan Jackson scored on a feed from Maddie Birch to deliver F&M a 10-9 road win over number 6 York College on February 26, 2020. Men's squash. Competing in the semifinal match of the Mid-Atlantic Squash Championship on February 8th, F&M competed against the number 1 seed Drexel, who the Diplomats lost to earlier in the season by a 9-0 tally. F&M received its revenge and beat the nation's number 6 ranked Dragons by a 5-4 score to earn a trip to the finals. Men's golf. Stephen Nicholas won the prestigious Hershey Cup tournament, which featured 3 teams ranked in the top 10. He beat a number of players who were ranked individually in the top 10 nationally, shot rounds of 71 and 74 to win by 1 shot. Conditions on the second day were brutal, with 25 to 30 mile-per-hour winds and temperatures in the 40s. The Game of the Year award goes to baseball's doubleheader sweep of Swarthmore. Next up, the nominees for Best Postseason Performance. Good athletes perform when the game is on the line, but the greatest athletes perform when the entire season hangs in the balance. Outstanding postseason performances are more notable for that exact reason. The stakes are higher in the postseason, which is when the best of the best rise to the occasion and perform at the highest level. Here are the nominees for Best Postseason Performance. Field hockey. The Diplomats had a great run in the 2019 season that led F&M to the national championship game. After losing by 1 goal in the CC championship, F&M was narrowly awarded one of the NCAA tournament's 5 at-large seeds. The Diplomats went on a 3-game NCAA tournament win streak that included a 3-1 victory against conference rival Johns Hopkins in the Final Four to advance into the national title game for the first time since 1981. F&M faced 2-time defending champion Middlebury and held tough with the Panthers before surrendering a late fourth-quarter goal. Jonathan Cole, baseball. Pitching against Haverford College for the second time in 2 weeks, Jay managed to throw 8 additional shutout innings in the first round of the CC playoffs on May 2nd, 2019. He struck out 8 batters and increased his consecutive innings without giving up an earned run streak to an eye-popping 34 1/3 innings. Tom Grominski, men's swimming. Tom earned the Centennial Conference Championship's Male Most Outstanding Performer Award. He won all 3 individual events, setting school records in all 3, while breaking the Centennial Conference records in both the 100 and 200 breaststrokes. Women's squash. The women's team played Tufts in the semifinals of the Walker Cup at the College Squash Association Team Championships on February 22nd. The team went down 4-3 with 2 matches left to play. However, the Diplomats fought back to win 5-4 thanks to Zoe winning the deciding match in 5 games. Sanjay Jiva, men's squash. Sanjay played at the number 1 spot for the entirety of the season, competing against some of the toughest players in collegiate squash. Sanjay finished with an impressive record of 24-6 and was only 2 points away from getting an All-American spot. He sits 25th on the program's career wins list and 7th in single-season wins. And the award for Best Postseason Performance goes to the field hockey team for their run to the 2019 national title game. Next up, Best Female and Male Plays of the Year. There's something irresistible about an amazing play. While there were plenty of spectacular plays made by F&M athletes this past year, we have narrowed it down to just a handful of worthy nominees. Here is the video showing some of those great plays.
From Muhlenberg. Here's Hines, 5 seconds to go in the hands of Koopa. 3 seconds, Koopa, foul line, jumper for the win. Franklin Marshall defeats Muhlenberg.
And the award for Best Female Play of the Year goes to Lily Minot Field Hockey. The award for Best Male Play of the Year goes to Kevin Galt Football.
At this time, we are pleased to announce the winner of the first annual Dip Cup. This year, SALC aimed to implement fun and creative ways to promote for both the F&M and Lancaster communities. A point system was conducted in order to determine the winner of this inaugural award. Categories included team GPA, attendance at games and SALC meetings, as well as team community service hours. Points continued to be accrued in the spring throughout social distancing measures, such as participating in SALC's virtual 5K and submitting pictures of student athletes wearing their Diplomat gear at home.
In third place with 39 points, we had a tie between the women's track and field and cross country team and the baseball team. In second place with 82.5 points is the volleyball team. And in first place with 173 points, this year's winner, the F&M field hockey team. Thank you to all the F&M teams who participated in this initiative. When we return to campus, the first annual Diplomat Cup trophy will be presented to the field hockey team who best exemplified the spirit of this award as well-rounded Franklin and Marshall student athletes. Before moving on to the annual F&M Athletic Department Awards, we would like to announce the winner of the SALC Sportsmanship Award. The Sportsmanship Award is bestowed upon a member of the Diplomat community who has consistently demonstrated good sportsmanship and ethical behavior throughout their time with Franklin and Marshall Athletics. No one exemplifies the merit and spirit of this award better than our tireless supporter and biggest fan of Diplomat Athletic, Coach EppSPY.
In appreciation and honor of Coach EppSPY and for all of the selfless years of service to the F&M Athletic Department, as a coach, leader, and mentor, it is with great pleasure to name you as the honorary recipient of this year's award. On behalf of the members of SALC and all the student athletes at Franklin and Marshall College, both past and present, we sincerely thank you for all of your unparalleled commitment to the student-athlete experience. Congratulations on your retirement, and we look forward to your continued support on the sidelines, as we know you will still be there to cheer us on.
At this time, I would like to congratulate those who have recently been awarded membership in the Delphic Honor Society due to their academic achievements in the spring 2019 and fall 2019 semesters. It is also my pleasure to present the John A. Fry Delphic Student Athlete Awards. This award is the highest honor presented to a student athlete by the college. The award is bestowed upon a male and female athlete who have achieved the highest levels of excellence in athletics, community service, and academics. In accordance with the college's Delphic Student Athlete Honor Society, the recipient must embody the ideals of mind, body, and spirit. The 2020 winners are Julia Bevan, women's squash; Rachel Wiley, indoor and outdoor track and field; Jonathan Senton, men's swimming; and Matt Hanby, football. Congratulations to all these worthy award recipients.
Next, it is a great honor to present the winners of the Athletic Directors Award for Leadership Distinction. This award recognizes 2 graduating seniors for exemplary leadership that has transformed the lives of their teammates and fellow student athletes. Their impact has been far-reaching, and we are grateful for all that they have contributed. The winners of the 3rd annual award are Nicolette Runco of the women's soccer team and Kevin Lammers of the football and baseball teams. Congratulations to both of you for this well-deserved honor. Next up are our final awards, the Senior Athlete Awards, given to the male and female senior athletes of the year. At this time, we would like to welcome to the program Caitlin Egger to present the Karvasales Outstanding Female Senior Athlete Award to this year's winner, Erin Coverdale of the field hockey team.
It is my honor to present this year's Senior Female Athlete Award to one of the most decorated athletes and field hockey players that have come through the doors at F&M. Throughout her 4 years, she has steered our team from being a predominantly defensive-minded force to becoming an offensive threat against any opponent we face. She's one of the smartest players on the field, knowing when to hang on to the ball, when to pass, when to shoot, and has a great ability to handle high-pressure situations. Erin Coverdale will leave F&M with many accolades, honors, and records attached to her name. She leaves the college as the field hockey program record holder in goals with 56, points with 156, and game-winning goals with 18. In addition, her stellar performance throughout her 4 years saw her earn some well-deserved accolades. She's a 3-time first-team All-Centennial pick, a 3-time NFHCA first-team Regional All-American. She was named the Centennial Conference Offensive Player of the Year twice. In 2017, she was named the NFHCA South Region Player of the Year. And she's a 3-time National All-American, a feat only 3 other players in F&M field hockey history have accomplished. Erin also excelled in the classroom. She's a great example that with hard work, quality time management, and dedication, you can balance a science major and also be successful on the field. After graduation, she's heading to nursing school at DeSales University. In closing, we couldn't be prouder of what Erin has done for our program. While all the records and honors are great, there's something she never put over the value of the team. I'm sure if you would ask Erin what her best honors were, it would be the ones that she accomplished with her teammates. Winning the Centennial Conference Championship in 2017, advancing to 4 NCAA tournaments, having the ability to compete in 2 Final Fours, and most recently, being able to compete for the national championship. Winning with her teammates was always Erin's #1 goal. So it is my pleasure to present the Senior Female Athlete Award to not only a great player, but a great person who's going to do amazing things in her life, Erin Coverdale.
I would like to welcome Todd Cavallaro to present the Garrigues Outstanding Male Senior Athlete Award to this year's winner, Kevin Mollahan of the men's lacrosse team.
It's certainly an honor and a privilege to introduce this next gentleman who when he was recruited, I knew he'd come to this program and he'd make significant changes. He was a competitor right from the start. On a lot of levels, he loves to win and he loves to compete, and he brings his A game every day. First year Centennial Conference Championship in 2017, the first one we had at F&M. He also led the most points scored by a freshman. He had 81 points in the Centennial Conference. He was Rookie of the Year in the Centennial Conference. He was a 3-time All-American. He would have been a 4-time All-American this year. He was a 3-time first-team All-Centennial Conference player as well. Would have been a 4-time All-Centennial Conference player this year as well. He was Player of the Year in 2018. He broke the scoring record in 3 years in 4 games. We still had 12 regular season games left with 207 goals, which is an incredible feat, and one that's lasted for a long, long time. And, Kevin Mollahan is just one of the best young men and the best players that I've had the opportunity to coach at any level. And, it's awfully exciting for him to be recognized as Male Athlete of the Year. And along with that, Kevin's one of those guys that would thank all of his teammates. That senior class, I feel bad for them. These are unforeseen circumstances. It's for their season to end like this, it was awfully tough. But the accomplishments of Kevin Mollahan and certainly the rest of the seniors, they were 43-14 overall. They were 21-3 in conference. They went to 2 NCAA appearances, 2 Centennial Conference Tournament top seeds, and a 2017 Centennial Championship. And that's with the 2020 season of unknown of what we could have done. But I know something special would have happened if we would have had that opportunity. But I'd like to recognize Kevin as Male Athlete of the Year. I couldn't be more proud. And also along with that, I'd like to recognize the 2020 seniors that we'll have an opportunity to celebrate all of them come fall when we can give them a proper send-off.
I'd like to thank everyone who supports F&M Athletics and SALC, especially those who took the time and effort to join us today. Dean Hazlett, Provost Wesson, President Altman, and of course, Coach Epps, our athletic director and ultimate fan of F&M Athletics. We would also like to thank our MC for this afternoon, John Whitwer.
Finally, we want to thank the class of 2020. Thank you for your dedication and hard work. We appreciate all of your contributions to F&M Athletics and look forward to seeing you back on campus as alums. Thank you everyone for tuning in and have a great finals week.
Before I sign off, I want to extend to you, student athletes, parents, coaches, administrators, professors, alumni, and everyone else who has contributed so much to the 2019-2020 athletic year. It will certainly be remembered for many, many reasons, And I hope that we were able to capture some of the excitement and some of the fun. And with that, go Diplomats!